at some point, right, I think through GPS, you're going to be able to buy digital real estate. There's already a crypto out there called Decentraland where you can buy digital real estate.
Yeah.
So imagine as an artist, we walk right down to the Capitol because it's just a few blocks away from us, and over top of the Capitol, you have a painting. Nikki Lavi painting because you own that space in, what do you want to call it? The metaverse or whatever they call it, right?
Let me go ahead and buy a digital museum and
Real quick.
get some digital art put in there. And,
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming.
A pleasure working with you guys for the last, number of years. Rob and I have been working together for forever, but Mone and Nikki, it's been a pleasure working with you guys and learning, y'all creative energies, being exposed to your art. I'm a big fan of your art, Nikki. I got to get a piece soon. But yeah, with that, I just want to jump right into it. Let's have this conversation about NFTs.
Okay.
You guys think it's here to stay? Are y'all gonna dabble with it? Do you want to make that transition?
I think first you should tell everybody what an NFT is, because I don't think people know what an NFT is.
Definitely. So yeah, non-fungible token. So it's basically, it's a digital asset that's attached to the blockchain. So the thing that I like about NFTs, or I'm really, looking forward to exploring, is the possibility of the residual or the royalties. Because it's attached to the blockchain, and all the transactions are being tracked in that ledger, and it's all, like I said, it's all attached to the, most of them Ethereum. Every time it sells or flips, you get a percentage of it. So I think that's a game changer for visual artists, because prior to this technology or this utility, visual artists were outside of, I think, dancers, were the only creatives that didn't get royalties. Like writers get royalties, musicians get royalties, actors, filmmakers. But the visual artists, once they sold their original work of art, that's pretty much it.
Right.
Unless you start getting into licensing, but that's a different thing.
Right.
But with the NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens, again, every time that once you get into a marketplace with your digital art, every time it sells, you can get a percentage off of that sale, which is essentially like creating your own avenue of royalties.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yes, it is.
Game changer.
And you can pretty much NFT anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can, I think, you can do concert tickets, albums. There are DJs and musicians now NFTing their work, and again, every time it resells, they're getting a percentage off of that.
Exactly.
So one of the biggest digital artists in the world, Beeple, I don't know if y'all familiar, I heard about the Beeple sale of his work.
Right.
It was auctioned off at Christie's.
Yeah, I've read about that.
I think like $6 million. And then it resold for something crazy, like 69 million.
69 million, I think.
Right? So he got a percentage of he got the revenue from the initial sale, but then when it flipped for 69 million, he should have also received
For sure.
royalties off of that.
Now,
So
what was
that's-
that was a picture of a picture? Like, like with NFTs, so say Nikki does a painting.
Yeah.
How does she then convert that to an NFT?
Or do I have to do the work digitally in the first place? Can I paint manually and convert that into an NFT?
Yeah. You can, it's my understanding that you can NFT physical products, but it has to be attached to a digital product. Like you have to mint it so that it's on the blockchain, because you can't put the physical product on the blockchain. So what you could do is you could have a physical product and take a picture of it. You can add music to it, you can animate it, and attach, they call it minting, and mint it on the blockchain that way, right? So people are doing, I'm sorry.
No. So based on what you've seen so far, have you seen that? Have you seen someone's work that was done manually that have been converted into an NFT and it has been successful? Because I think most of the NFTs I've seen, the work looks digital, like it was created.
Right, from a digital piece.
Yeah,
Digital art.
Yeah, digital art is that's the biggest lane right now. I believe the NBA, they NFT'd a highlight of LeBron James that sold for like $200,000. So it's a highlight video, right? Another great example would be in the music world. Dame Dash is NFT his 1/3 ownership of Rockefeller Inc.
Which is crazy.
Right? So Rockefeller Inc. owns Reasonable Doubt. So he's not selling Reasonable Doubt, he's selling his 1/3 ownership in Rockefeller Inc., which owns Reasonable Doubt.
Gotcha.
But in order to sell it, the way he packaged it, he created a digital image he created a few, but he created a digital image of like this diamond. You know how they used to do the diamond of the dynasty symbol? He created a digital image of a diamond and attached a music track that he created. And so that's what's getting minted.
Gotcha.
So when you buy his ownership, I think he listed it for 10 million.
10 million.
Starting bid is 10 million.
10 million.
When you purchase it, the certificate of authentication is essentially the NFT.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
And that's kind of like the seal, like, boom, you own this.
Yeah.
Because you own the NFT.
I kind of equate it to going and having something notarized.
Yeah, that makes
Gotcha.
You
sense.
know what I'm
Gotcha,
saying?
gotcha.
You go to a notary to have a document or stamped official, they stamp it, you pay them a fee, right? Now that thing is official. So that's what's happening with the blockchain. You create that encrypted code for whatever you're creating, now it's solidified on the blockchain. And then if it's resold, sold, you're able to track it with that ID.
That's dope.
Yeah.
There's a marketplace that you go on. What's that marketplace name? It's like a website. I forgot the name of it.
OpenSea
yeah.
is a popular one.
I heard of that one.
You have Nifty Gateway and you have Super Rare. There are many that are popping up, but the credible ones that I'm aware of is Nifty Gateway, Super Rare, OpenSea. A lot of artists, especially emerging artists, have taken to OpenSea because it's
Yeah, I've
easier.
heard it. That's the one I
A
heard.
lot of them are really strictly curated. Like Super Rare and Nifty Gateway, I think it's hard to get on. Right?
Gotcha.
They're curating those marketplaces like really tightly. But OpenSea, you know, a lot of people are getting on that. It's a much easier process to get in. So it's a process. They call it gas. I think the gas fee.
Gas
when
fees.
you're minting your work. So if you want to take one of your visual pieces, create a digital image of it, and NFT it, you have to first mint it and pay whatever that gas fee is, because it literally goes up and down like gas, depending on what the price of Ethereum is.
What the price of your piece?
The
gas
fee.
So the gas fee, essentially, from what I know, I'm not an expert, but from what I know, determines how fast your transaction goes through.
When somebody purchases it, or
Either way.
okay,
Either way. So it's, again, that notary, right? You go to get your thing notarized, you got to pay a notary a fee.
right,
They may not all have the same fee.
Right.
Somebody might charge $1, $2,
Right.
$5, right? But when it comes to NFTs on the blockchain, that gas fee is going to determine how fast you process. So it may be $12, right? Just an example. You may pay $12, but there may be another gas fee that's $25,
I got you.
$35, or $40. The higher you pay, the faster your transaction goes through.
Gotcha.
If you pay the lower one, it can take a few minutes, maybe an hour, a couple hours, maybe a day.
Okay.
It determines, because you have miners who are processing these transactions. So whoever picks up that transaction the most, usually they're searching for the higher transaction fees, right?
I got you.
The person that picks that up may take a little while.
Makes
for it to
sense.
I
happen.
believe it's also attached to the cost of Ethereum or the cryptocurrency that it's attached to.
Got you.
So it's
Yeah.
that, and if Ethereum is high, or if it's going up, those gas fees are probably going to go up as well. So
Okay.
yeah, it gets, we getting real technical and into the weeds. Like Rob said, I'm not an expert. I've just been listening and tracking. I've been on Clubhouse in a lot of rooms, listening, trying to educate myself. A lot of it can get overwhelming because it's very technical. It's very
sounds
new.
like it.
But a lot of these rooms I'm in, they're developers that are just like geeking out on this stuff, and
Sound crazy.
I love it because Rob and I, we talk about this offline a lot. This technology is it's even in the playing field. It's letting, regular everyday people get into their lane, monetize their gifts and their talents, and get to that bag, essentially. Whereas before, you had a lot of gatekeepers, you had a lot of different hurdles to overcome to really get to that place. So this technology, all these just platforms and, with social media, with, again, with cryptocurrencies, it's amazing.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nikki.
No.
Go ahead, because I know you got some NFT questions.
I do.
Go ahead.
I do.
Yes.
And so, and this question may be premature because we're still talking about it, but do you think this will last?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because I know people, when they own something, they're used to touching it.
Right.
They're used to hanging it.
Right.
They're used to wearing it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So with that, I'm wondering if people are finding it hard to get into it, to purchase something that's essentially just a digital product.
Right. And I think the way that's coming about, right? As each generation comes on, they take on new things and we're forced to switch, right?
Right.
Which goes to a point you wanted to touch on, the gamification of this whole thing.
Yeah.
The kids, if you think about our kids, right? They own these video games. I like to use 2K. 2K and a game Call of Duty. On 2K, kids are buying Jordans, outfits, by Supreme, by whoever, and they're paying money for this.
Same with Roblox.
Roblox.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, I got it.
So
It's like a whole digital universe.
it's a
Right,
digital
right,
universe, right? So
Okay.
they're calling it gamification. They're going to gamify everything, right? They're talking about websites being changed, no longer being static websites. You may come to Mone's website now, where you can buy whatever samples he's created, so on and so forth.
Right.
But at some point, he may want to create a three-dimensional world that you come to. You may actually come on his website and it'd be like a little mall that you walk through digitally.
Complete
With the
experience.
character that you may have created on another game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's going to become a gamification of this entire thing. And I think that's what's going to help it transition. You know what I mean? Because our kids, they tapped in
Absolutely. Like
social media in the virtual world. They almost live in the virtual world.
like touch on the skins.
Right.
In video games.
The same
Yeah,
things like she
yeah,
was saying, like
yeah.
Roblox.
Right.
It's crazy. Like LeBron just created a video game for Space Jam. And I think he has a skin, I don't know, may have a skin on Fortnite. Like it's crazy. You're gonna have to pay for that. So I think with that,
And it's the scarcity, so we can't leave out the scarcity effect is what drives the value.
Okay.
So if you have a one-on-one of LeBron NFT or skin, and I want it, I gotta buy it from him.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
and then if I own it, and like I said, for the original creator, again, for the creators, the original creator is going to win, because they every time these things are being sold in this virtual world, they're making money off of it. So it's I see in my mind's eye, I see this transition of creators starting to really get compensated for their creativity, and that stigma of artists, the struggling artists, and we came up in a time where if you told your parents or your family members that you were an artist, they would be like, okay, are you going to get a real job too? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I think this transition, it's like, these are the fields and the jobs that people are going to aspire to.
creative jobs. Yeah.
But the artist still got to do the legwork though.
Absolutely.
Because you still gonna have some people that's just lazy. That same person that didn't want to go learn the business behind selling a piece. They still got to go learn about the NFT, how to,
Anyway,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Absolutely.
anyway.
That's still the main factor of it all.
Yes.
'Cause I feel like if they don't really look into it or go the extra mile, you're still gonna be that starving artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Indeed.
it won't
You can't
replace the
escape the
hustle.
work, right?
Yeah,
You
it
can't
won't
escape
replace-
the work.
Right.
You
You
gotta
can't escape
hustle.
the work.
With anything, actually. You
Yeah.
know, but yeah.
Because I feel like as we get deeper in the future, this digital universe,
Right.
I feel like, just like you said, it's like, they're making virtual reality more real. I seen this thing where you can buy something for your body now and then put on the virtual set and you can feel everything that's happening.
It's coming.
You know what I'm saying? It's coming fast.
And then when you throw augmented reality in there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be
Oh
huge,
yeah, that's
right?
crazy.
So you have a couple of artists. I know there's a young lady named, I think her tag is humane. She does, if you go to her IG page, she does some virtual pieces where something she's painting, you can see it in reality right now, and she'll turn the painting and you can see the layers of it and everything.
That's dope.
Right? So that leads me to Pokémon Go. You guys remember that? When
Yeah.
everybody's going crazy over Pokémon
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Right,
They're looking at their cell phones, walking around regular life, looking for Pokemon.
right.
At some point, right, I think through GPS, you're going to be able to buy digital real estate. There's already a crypto out there called Decentraland where you can buy digital real estate.
Get
Yeah.
out of here.
So imagine as an artist, we walk right down to the Capitol because it's just a few blocks away from us. And over top of the Capitol, you have a painting. Nikki Lavi painting because you own that space in, what do you want to call it? The metaverse or whatever they call it, right?
Let me go ahead and buy a digital museum and
Real
get
quick.
some digital art put in there. And
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I believe it's
mind-blowing.
gonna get like that.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback on the conversation, I mean, when you, in terms of the staying power, the way I look at it is it's all subjective value, right? So you have subjective value versus objective value, and I'm a football fan, and I like Tom Brady. He's the GOAT, but I wouldn't spend $1.3 million on a Tom Brady trading card, right? So I believe, I think one of his trading cards just sold for 1.3 million. So that's subjective value. There's somebody in the world that saw enough value in his trading card. So I look at, so just to give a comparison, I look at a lot of the NFTs as electronic trading cards.
Okay.
It's just, it's the trading card industry in a way. It's a digital piece of art, but again, it's the scarcity thing. It's a one of one. And unless you create a collection or series, but it's still like, I own this thing, right? And so you're buying a piece of, a lot of it is you're buying a piece of the artist too. So that's why I've been encouraging a lot of artists. You can't just jump into that world and think that, if I start getting into NFTs, people are gonna buy it. You gotta cultivate your audience. You gotta kind of nurture your audience for making that transition with you. The most successful artists I'm seeing right now already, they're digital artists who already have an audience and know them for being digital artists.
Gotcha.
And that was just a platform for them to create another revenue stream for them. But
Makes sense.
visual artists who paint in the physical world like you have to kind of like coach and nurture your audience and teach them and show them that transition as well. Like,
And the benefit of it.
and the benefit
And
of
the
it.
benefit of it.
Because you have a loyal audience. So the people that follow you and just want a piece of Nikki Lavi's work, they're gonna buy it. And it's also, it might be another way to get in and owning your work at a different price point. Right?
Right.
So instead of paying, $2,000-$3,000 for a physical piece, they can pay, $200-$300 for a digital piece.
Okay.
Let me ask you something. So when it comes to, say Nikki has a piece, right? It's the original piece. Somebody buys it, right? Now, as it continues to get sold, she gets a piece of each sale, right? Now, do the sellers down the line also get pieces off of that sale, or
No.
is it just the original?
That's a good question.
Just the original.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you set the price for.
Yeah. So
Got
the person who's down the line sells it, they just getting what they sold it. I mean, they list it for.
Okay. So
She-
it's not like a trickle effect.
No.
Okay. That'd have been
She'll
dope.
get that.
It
I know
would've been,
that's
yeah.
next level. But yeah, Nikki. So I think the industry norm right now is 10%. But I believe you can go as low as 2-3%.
That's fly.
But every time it flips, Nikki Lavi would get 10%.
That was my next question. Like, what's the percentage
So it's
that
that,
you would get
you know,
off of each sale?
and it's fully
Yeah.
transparent.
Yeah.
And that's forever.
Because it's on the
Forever.
blockchain. And the
And
cool
it's a
thing too
brand.
is, with provenance and all of that, like when you're selling, when it sells, like you don't have to know the people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your work can be out there just flipping, and you don't have to, be out there selling and working and
Right.
meeting people.
Right.
So
Or chase people down for your commission.
yeah,
It's locked
it's
in.
just locked in because it's on the
And that
blockchain.
Coded
record
in,
is
yeah.
there.
It's
That
coded
record
in.
is forever
It's
there.
coded.
It's
So
coded
you
in.
can see that transition. That's crazy.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's fly.
So
Yeah.
young people that's like, I'm on Clubhouse all the time, and I'm fascinated by young people, they all over this. You know what I mean? Like they, like Rob's saying, this whole, gamification of, they're looking at it as not just digital art. I mean, I think they're developers in China. I heard they're developers in China right now. They're figuring out ways to NFT pretty much everything: concert tickets, plane tickets.
Yeah, at some point, houses, homes, cars.
It gets unique. I mean, tricky, but they're gonna figure it all out. And then they're gonna just keep improving on it, where it becomes faster, more efficient. The transactions, the way you mint it and get it on the blockchain is gonna probably improve, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting times.
So say if a piece sells over and over and over and over and over again, does that devalue it, or does that increase the value? How does that work? Or it does nothing for it at all? Like, is there a benefit if my piece sells to Mone and then Rob wants to buy it and then you buy it and then someone else buy it and that happens rapidly?
If it's going up in value, it's a good thing. But if Mone buys it, let's say for $1,000, and then Rob buys it for $800, you see it going down,
Then
which
that's where-
happens. Because
Okay.
like I said, you can go on these marketplaces, because it's so transparent. They have all the activity. You can look at the activity and see what's selling for what. That's the other big advantage, right? You can't really, as a buyer, for me, because I'm an art collector, I enjoy the transparency because you can't like swindle me now. You know what I mean? You
Right.
can't like fudge your value. You can't say, you want me to pay X, but I can see in the marketplace your value is this.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you can see, I guess to your question, is it a good thing or a bad thing? It depends on the market, what's going on in the market, your art.
And I think it's gonna come back to those fundamentals, right?
Yeah,
Like art becomes famous based on who held it, right?
yeah.
I think it's going to play a part too. But you have people building their names
Okay.
as collectors of NFTs, digital art, that have prominence as well. So I think it's going to follow along those lines too. But then also you have the person. If you starving for money and you pay $2,000 and you have an emergency and you want to sell this piece, you may sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a number of factors.
Yes,
Okay.
in that regard, I see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if I'm verbalizing it well, but yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, does it hold weight if someone holds on to it and keeps it? Like, I don't want to give it up. You see it on the blockchain, you know it's not moving, it's there, you don't want to give it up. I know that's a personal preference, but I'm just wondering, like, if it sells over and over again, it's been passed around, does that matter? Does that decrease the value in any way? But I think you answered that question to say, no, if it goes from one place to another and then another, if the value goes up, then you're still all good. Like, that product still holds its value. And that artist is always still getting their portion of it.
Actually, in a way, the artist wins regardless, because if Mone buys it for $1,000 and you get 10%, it's $100. If Rob turns around and sells for $800, you're getting $80. So you're still getting money. So from an artist's perspective, no matter what the price is, as long as it's reselling, you're getting continued revenue from it.
Okay.
So I mean, I guess it depends on, the goals and objectives of what the artist wants from their art being out there.
Okay.
And I think the higher you get and the more you get out there with your brand, I feel like whoever holds that piece is just gonna charge more for it.
Gotcha.
Like, boom.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think you can, you can't lose that fact that it's still attached to, there's still some fundamental principles that's gonna apply to the value of your work. You still gotta, get popping and get hot and stay hot,
Yeah.
relevant,
Right.
Facts.
Yeah. I'm always on the what ifs.
Nah, I hear you.
Especially if it's no, I'm like, so what's gonna happen if this happens? Trying to think ahead, trying to be
Definitely
proactive.
need that.
So do y'all have any NFTs or put any up? Do you do?
Not yet.
Okay.
I bought some as a collector.
Okay.
And I flipped, I've made a nice little bit of money on some too. I got it early.
By trading it?
Selling it.
Selling it? Okay.
Yeah. I bought it quick, as soon as it was released in the marketplace, I bought it. I was still new, so I didn't know exactly who was hot. I just bought what I liked. Like it's a digital artist that does, a lot of Nike Airs and J's and stuff like that. And he did like this cool Lego image of I think the Jordan 1s, the J's, and I bought it for like $100, and then I listed it. I put it up for sale. I think like 2 months later, someone bought it. I listed it for like $500. Someone bought it, and you get an email, and it'll say this amount of money is in your account now. So it'll tell you who bought it. It's kind of fly.
And you gotta move quick. That's why I haven't jumped in, because I'll get the notifications and I'll go, and you'll see 23 pieces gone.
Oh yeah.
It moves so fast, but also I want to buy what I like. I don't just want to get it because I know it can flip or whatever. If it's something I have to hold on to, I want to get something that I like.
And you did this on OpenSea?
Nifty Gateway.
Nifty Gateway.
As a collector, I like Nifty Gateway.
Is that one of the more difficult ones to get into?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
highly curated, but I just think it's really cool too, man. Like I said, I'm a big fan, but it's cool because when you start getting into buying and selling, you tapping into this community of art lovers that's just and it's an investment. Like people are really trying to buy it, and then they're looking at it as like trading stocks and cryptocurrency. So it's people that's specifically trying to get in and make money, but you also see a lot of people that's holding it. They really love this thing, this digital art. But yeah, from a buyer's perspective, like Rob said, you got to get in quick. But also, there's so many different ways that you can sell your work. So they have auctions. You can do an auction where you set a bid price and you set a time for the auction to take place, and then you have, and you can set a limit of how many people that can actually, so you can do the auction, but then you can do like a raffle.
Okay.
Right? So they'll say, we're going to release 500, openings for this raffle, or for you to get in on purchasing it, and then they pick like a raffle. They pick the winners of who gets to. If you're picked, then you pay. You know what I'm saying? So they'll say those are like the really high in demand artists.
Wow.
I think that's successful if you really have an audience.
Right.
But like you could say, I'm going to release this NFT. It's going to be up for a raffle, for up to 4,000 people. When it hits some of the more popular artists, it'll hit that 4,000 quick. You can't even enter in the raffle, but it'll hit 4,000 people, and then of that 4,000 people, they'll say we're going to pick 10 winners.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's just so many, cool ways you can get your work out there.
It sounds complicated.
It's not. Once you get a feel for it, like anything.
Mone triggered a question in me when he said trade. Can two people trade NFTs?
I would assume so.
Yeah. So what's cool too
Okay.
is you can, once you have your account and everything open, again, because it's essentially attached to the blockchain and Ethereum. Most of them is Ethereum. Let's say I purchased an NFT, I can gift it to Rob and deposit it into his wallet.
Okay.
It's fly, man.
It's almost like
sounds so
when you
fun.
talk about the wallet is simply an address,
Yeah.
like an email address.
Okay.
Right, but it's a set of numbers, whatever. And he can just send it to me just like that.
And you are the new owner.
I'll be the new owner, holder. Yes, ma'am.
Let me do my homework.
Yeah, you gotta do your homework. I'm gonna do my homework too.
Gotta get
Yeah,
on
itching.
especially you
Yeah,
on the
I'm
music
Oh
tip.
my
I'm
gosh.
itching.
I
Like
know,
with your
right?
samples,
I'm
man.
itching.
I can see it in your face, yeah.
Get on and study that.
Yeah,
And I like to trade too, so.
yeah. And it's bringing new life to the collectible market as well. That's what I was saying. There's so many things out there so many collectibles that people have, like Cabbage Patch dolls, baseball cards, NFT, all of this stuff.
Right.
So it's going to give a whole new life to the collectibles market as well.
Absolutely, and like you said, I mean, we got, I want to, move the conversation forward, but the last thing I want to say about the music piece, as a musician, you definitely got to explore this, because musicians are, like, you could work with a visual artist, you could attach your tracks to a visual, because you're into visual art too, so you can partner or collab with a visual artist, attach your music, through the metadata.
Metadata.
You could attach your music to the visual art and NFT it, and you can make, as a musician, make money.
It's the new collaboration.
Yeah, and also further your music and your brand, get it out there in a unique, different way,
I like that.
leveraging this technology.
Yeah, me and Nikki gonna do something.
That's what I was about to say. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, we got
gotta
something.
get together and put
We
in
got
some
something,
work.
we got something we gonna cook out.
That's dope.
Yes, indeed.
That's dope.
But
That's good stuff. I am artist Nikki Lavi, and I painted this piece. I called it Uplift. Uplift is, when you look at it, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It is about my people keeping each other uplifted. I wanted a man represented. I wanted a woman represented. And if you can see, while she's uplifting him or trying to keep his head up, he's also doing the same for her. The background represents a sense of isolation or a sense of being in the middle of nowhere. Here in the chest area, you'll see that she is above the clouds. And here, where his head is, you can see that it has reached the sun. So this piece is just basically about our people, Black people, keeping each other uplifted in times where we may feel isolated, where we may feel alone. And it's like, as long as you have someone who is keeping you in a space to know that you can keep going, that you could reach the heights that you want to reach, that you are truly blessed. So that's what Uplift is about to me. I've heard so many people tell me what Uplift means to them. And I think the goal that I was trying to reach, I would like to believe I have, and trying to make people understand where I was coming from with this piece. So, but yeah, this is Uplift, and if you see it, reach out to me and Nikki Lavi. My IG is NIKKILAVI. Let me know what you think about it.
with everything that's going on in the world, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was a number of things I want to talk about, but on this particular show or episode, I wanted to get into like burnout, as creatives, and it has to be, a challenge just juggling, work, life. Many of us have 9 to 5s. I'll just speak on, some of the stuff that I've been juggling, and then, you guys can chime in. But it's like, being an art advocate, working with 30 plus artists at any given time, having a 9 to 5, having a family, wife, 4 kids, bumping heads with your kids. I have a 23-year-old who we bumping heads, but that, and just managing all of these things in the midst of a pandemic, right? It's like, curating shows and doing exhibitions, and then staying present and coming home, being present for your wife and your friends, and dealing with I'm helping out my mom who was having some health issues. It's just a lot. So what I've been sharing with a lot of people close with me is just you got to protect your mental health. Your mental health armor has to be on point. And art has been therapy for me. That's why I love it so much. My 13-year-old, she asked me, Dad, why do you love art so much? I'm really into art as a form of therapy. Not only do I love collecting it, and I love looking at it and being surrounded by it and being around artists and creatives, because of the energy and the frequency is always just such a blessing for me. It's therapeutic.
It really is. It really is.
So I guess my question to you guys is, how have you guys been managing and dealing with, all the things that life has been throwing at us this last few a year and a half, rather?
Right. Some days I don't know. And I'm gonna keep it real. Some days I have so much going on that I don't even know where to start. And I like to believe that I'm a very organized person. But there are some days where I sit and I'm like, okay, I have this at work going on. And see, I'm on call 24/7 with my regular job. I pulled my sons out of school because unfortunately the educators couldn't transition properly, to this virtual platform. And so I put them into a platform that has been virtual for 20 years. So I'm helping educate now. On top of that, yes, I have a whole family. I got a man, he works. And so trying to be creative with all of that has been very difficult. But I'd like to say that I've been keeping afloat. Has it been difficult? It has. It really has. And I'm still working through it. Still trying to find my flow. And I will, because I've already locked in mentally that this kind of environment, our new norm, is being developed. If it's not here already, it's being developed. And so I have to figure out what my new norm is, right? And so thankfully, I do have people who want to see Nikki Lavi art, and they know that I may not be present on social media for a few weeks, but they know it's all because I am taking care of myself mentally. I'm taking care of my family. I'm working, and they stay with me. That's a good thing. But of course, you're going to have individuals that you have to feed. You have to feed them creatively. You have to stay in, like, look, if you're not going to be around, I'm not following you, and I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying? So it's those individuals as well. So that's where the idea of me figuring out what my new norm is going to be, because I do want to go to the next level creatively, and I don't want to, remain in the same place. We're all about elevating, right? So for me, I'm still trying to find my way. I'm not going to even say that I figured it out.
Right.
So I don't have any advice now, but I will just catch us in a couple of more episodes. But I got you.
For sure.
Yeah.
I got the same question for you, Mone. Before I ask Mone, what are you doing though are there any activities that you're doing to keep your creativity tank from running empty?
Okay. Yeah. I have to be around nature. So I will go on walks.
That's key for me too.
Yeah. Like I'll go on a walk, especially when I'm at work. I will look at other art, to kind of get some inspiration and things like that. I'm always feeding myself with other people's work, because I just love looking at other people's art to see what they're doing and things like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes music,
Yes.
Mom, I'm telling you, music, sometimes just listening to music will put you in a space where you can forget everything that's going on, and you can start to so between music and staying physically active and, things like that, I think that helps me a lot to keep my mental space healthy, because again, something may come up and I got to make a decision, or something may come up and
Yeah.
Just even with the kids, Mom, can I have, a few Robux? I mean, that can kind of like interrupt your
day.
your moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your I don't know what to call it, but yeah, I just try to find some me time. Some
Self-care is
quiet time, some
Yeah.
alone time, so I can think and kind of filter through my thoughts.
Yeah.
So Rob, same for you, man. What are you doing right now that keep your creative juices flowing, keeping your energy up, your mental health intact?
I've kind of done, I don't want to say it's the opposite. It's a little what Nikki's done. I think the pandemic, I embraced the pandemic in terms of, because with the brand I'm building, right? Mobile status, with the brand I'm building, I felt like I had to move at a certain speed. Fashion moves at a certain speed. The industry moves at a certain speed, like 2 or 3 or 4 different collections a year, spring, summer, winter, fall. Right? So I was feeling the urge, like I have to get things done at a certain time without really having perfected my system, my process. So I embraced the pandemic and slowed down. And that was the best thing for me. Like you, I'm creative to the core, but I fell in love with business a long, long time ago, like maybe in my 20s, maybe when I was 19, and it was something that I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to learn this thing for it to be essential, not just in what I'm doing creatively, but in life, for my family, for my kids. I felt like I needed to understand that side because creativity is easy for me, I don't say that with any ego, but having that creativity, I can turn things on and off. I taught myself the little bit I know about music. I'm not a musician, right? But I understand sound. I understand what's clear, what's bad. Like you say, a kick is bad, a snare is bad. I understand those things. Art has been a part of my family since I was a little kid. My mom, my grandmother, my uncles, my brothers, they were all into comic books back in the day. My uncle Dorian, who is one of my favorite uncles because he was into hot rods. So I used to see him draw funny cars and dragsters and all of these different things, and I was amazed. So I took to the pencil. I'm self-taught when it comes to that.
That's dope.
But because I started so young, 8 or 9, with a little practice, I think I can master anything, So I could turn it on and off. I haven't been as motivated with my paintings because that's something that I love and I take very seriously. So my issue is I'm kind of a perfectionist. So I won't take the leap until I feel like it's right. So that could put a little damper on my speed in terms of producing. But
Because when I met you, I met you as an artist.
you met me as an artist.
Yeah.
In the very beginning stages of my process. So, Levi, Levi Robinson, he's my biggest inspiration when it comes to this.
Yeah,
art.
he's dope.
I'm a fan of it.
Levi is dope.
He was the one who motivated me to move to paint.
Okay.
But even in that process, it's self-taught, and it started getting easy.
That's dope.
It started getting easy. So unfortunately, when things get easy for me, I back off. But for me, I don't know why this fashion thing, I'm so addicted to fashion and building this brand. So that's kind of where my focus has been. I feel like you, if I'm disciplined here and I can build this thing to where it needs to be, the painting and the music is a little easier. You know what I mean? Being able to have the time. But because I have 2 kids, I have a girlfriend who's very active, trying to strike that balance, as you said, has kind of taken me away from being able to do those things which are a little more time consuming. The fashion thing is not so much, because you can sit down, draw a sketch. I don't know much about sewing or pattern making, but, I can send that to someone. Doing the graphics and digitals for a shirt is very easy. I can do that on the computer. So my main focus has been on understanding the system and what I need to get this thing up and running, and what still requires creativity.
Right.
So that's kind of where my focus has been, and what my mission has been. It's just been taking time for me, taking time for the family, because the world is moving so fast, and getting things lined up so when the world opened back, when the world opened back up, I'll be in place. But I'll be in place with a solid product to move at the pace that I need to
You've
move.
been doing a lot of you've been on a lot of training as well, though, right?
Yeah.
Personal development.
Yeah.
Didn't you go out to LA to
Oh, wow.
look into like how to scale your business?
Yeah,
Share a little bit about that.
So, if you look at fashion now, or what we perceive as fashion, street fashion, or whatever, you see a lot of people doing t-shirt brands or starting their own brands. And I wanted to get into the vertical integration part of this business, the system, because with anything, we need a system to excel. And educate myself on that. So we went to LA, flew out to LA to try to find different manufacturers for different things, be it accessories like bags, garments, and understand what the process takes. I mean, we were just popping in on some of these manufacturers, and they, I think by the grace of God, they was letting us in. Usually they were taking appointments, but we were knocking on the door, and I guess they felt the energy and they would let us in. So we were doing walkthroughs to understand what it takes, the process. Like, people don't understand. It's easy to print on a garment or have something made, but it's not as easy to make a t-shirt from scratch.
What do you mean? What do you mean, an actual t-shirt?
Yeah,
Like
because there's so many.
Like a plain t-shirt?
Like picking the
A
cotton.
plain t-shirt.
Picking the cotton.
Right? So when you talk
Stitching.
about vertical integration, you're talking about owning every aspect of your business, right? You're talking about owning the raw materials. That may have to start with you owning a span of land somewhere.
Right.
You know, having sheep, because where's the wool coming from?
Right.
Where's the cotton coming from?
Right.
You know, so owning that aspect. Then you have to mill this material. You have to take the raw material, have it milled, have it spun it in thread. That's another step, right? Then it's dyeing. Who's doing your dyeing, right? Also, who's making it? Who's creating your patterns? Who's sewing it together?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Just for a t-shirt.
That's heavy.
You don't really think
You don't
about it
think
like
about it.
that.
Right? You don't think about it like that. So if you're someone like me and you're doing this out of pocket, all of these processes cost.
Facts.
So if I want to get a certain type of material, let's say I want to get a hoodie made with a certain type of material, I have to source the material. If I'm not having it spun and made myself. So that's a fee. So when I got to LA, it was an eye opener. I was like, wow. So just for me to create a one hoodie could potentially cost me $1,500 for the sample. You understand? This is before I began to sell anything. So that was a wake-up call, and that made me say, whoa, okay, I need to slow down. You know, if I really want this brand to stand for something and I really want to deliver the quality to my clients that I want, I got to slow this thing down
Facts.
and do it right. You know what I mean? I got a box of hoodies and t-shirts at home that I had done. I had some labels put in, but because it didn't come out the way I wanted it, it's on hold. You know, so it was an education process, man. It was beautiful. I was very thankful these people allowed me to walk through, but it's a process and it's expensive. You
I can
know?
imagine, trust.
You know, and it shed a light on, you know, sometimes as consumers, you know, we look at black businesses and we kind of give them the short end of the stick because we look at it like, we know you're just printing on somebody else's t-shirt. But what are we to do? We have to raise money somehow. You know, it's not always good to go out and get a loan to start a business when you don't understand the business that you're in. So
That's
these
facts.
steps and this process, man, is a beautiful thing for us. But if you want to go hard, you really got to get out there.
Definitely.
Understand the manufacturing side because it's a beast. It's a beast.
And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now I was saying, when it comes to the capital side of things, it's like a lot of people not really familiar with how to go about getting funding and capital for their business.
Yeah, I'll tell you how I started mine, man. I started mine while working. You know, I do security as a profession. I was working at the Smithsonian. I had a bunch of young people that I work with, right? So I did this, started my business for myself, but I started in the way in hopes of educating them. Because you have people there standing around, I want to start a business, I want to sell hay, I want to do nails, I want to open up a salon. So I said, I'm going to start this business right in front of them.
Well, what business is this?
This is mobile status.
Oh, okay.
I started this business right in front of them to build the capital. I did the logo, I was showing everybody the logo. Hey, what you think? Get feedback. Oh, that's dope. Okay, I think I'm going to get some jackets done. I got to sample them. I sold maybe 20 jackets, had deposits for the jackets in like the first week.
That's heavy.
The first week I made like $1,200. That was the funding that I needed to get my LLC, my trademark, all of those different things. So granted, it started with the people around me, but those are the people who support you the most. So you can easily raise seed money from friends and family. But again, I think you really have to understand what you're getting involved with. You know, it's one thing to say you want to be involved with fashion, but not to do your homework and really dive into what it takes. I mean, all the way down to the micro level. You're going to do yourself a disservice. And you're going to put yourself out of business before, right when you're starting probably to get hot, you know, if you don't understand. Because to take the leap to the next level, to maybe go nationally or whatever, you need to understand that capital piece.
That capital piece is very important to get your piece moving.
Now, granted, technologies are helping us. You have Alibaba, you have access to factories that you didn't have before, and you can rely on them. You know, they have standard cuts and for different garments that they've created. You can rely on that. But again, there's no personality in it other than your logo.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
So to really stand apart, you got to go through the process yourself.
And on that capital piece, once you understand, you know, your business, and understand how the money circulates through it,
Yeah.
it's easy to get. Well, let me not say easy, but it's not that hard to get capital, especially through these banks.
Yeah.
Through credit lines. You know what I mean? But it all starts with your personal credit.
Because you can articulate
Yeah.
what it is you're doing, where your money's coming from, where it's being spent, which all requires creativity. You know what I mean? It all requires creativity. So yeah, man, it's this fashion thing is tough, but it's been beautiful for me. You know, because I like to learn. I'm a serial learner, so every day I'm learning something new. Like I just watched a video recently about how fashion is really doing damage to the planet. You know, so now I really have to consider the sustainability of what I'm doing. Yeah, man, and being creative in sales. You know, there's a lot of people that produce. I don't necessarily want to sell a lot of product with this brand. You know, I think at my height, I may do 50 pieces for whatever one design I'm doing. So that's my goal, to maintain the sustainability of it all.
Facts.
Being creative there as well.
Yeah.
You know,
I like it.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
So hopefully I answered your question.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. It sounds like, you know, you took a lot of time to, like you said, you slowed things down.
Slow down.
You used it for, you know, a lot of personal development. And I think that was key. That's what I did as well. I took a lot of online trainings. I did a lot of personal growth, meditating, you know, got into some hobbies. I painted a little bit as well for therapy. But yeah, I think it was important. I think this period, you know, gave everybody a chance to hit reset, you know,
Yeah.
and focus on some things that, whether it be growth or spending more time with your family and your loved ones, and get refocused.
Yeah.
It allowed me to just really get refocused, and because I have a 9 to 5, I can multitask. You know, I've been home so much, I can multitask a little bit more, a little bit better.
Man, I envy that, man. Everybody that's home from work right now, man, I can't tell you, because I could get so much done if I was home.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to have curated all these events if this didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a gift for me, a blessing in a lot of ways. I want to give you your flowers too. That Creative Juices event we collaborated on.
Oh yeah.
One of the most, I think, dopest, coolest things I've ever seen live musically was when you was producing live and DJ Marvelous was mixing to when y'all was working in concert.
Yeah, that was live.
I mean, and just seeing the reaction of the people in the room.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like I ain't never seen that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was really cool.
So I don't have any kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't. I've devoted like my life to what I believe in and what kind of like pours through me all the time, every day. My mind is just thinking music. It's a gift and a curse because I'm an entrepreneur too. So I don't. You know, I do my own thing. I have my own business. So it's like I'm business minded, but I'm all the way creative minded. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I have marketing in my mind. I have beats in my mind. I have missions in my mind. You know, dates in my mind. So it's really kind of like my mind is constantly moving and shifting. But I said a long time ago that before I want to start a family, I have to figure out this. I gotta reach this goal, and I put limits on myself like that because it's like, all right, if you ain't gonna do it, then it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's serious goals I set for myself, and I set those goals based on what I believe I can achieve. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the music portion, it just naturally flows. My grandmother, I'm from a Jamaican Caribbean background, so my grandmother was very popular in Jamaica, and my grandfather was a legendary Jamaican artist. So it kind of like runs through the blood. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And because of that, like they were able to move my father up here. You know what I mean? So that's how we were able to be born out here. So it's like it runs through the family, but it was never known on a national, historic, worldwide level. You know what I'm saying? And as the generations keep going and going and going, I feel like boom, it got to happen now. You know what I'm saying? I know it can happen now. You know what I'm saying? So I've just devoted myself to it. And I believe in it so much to the point where, all right, Mom, you're gonna do this first, then you're gonna do that. And even if it take you 1,000,000 years, you still gotta do this before you get to that. That's how I'm like thinking, and that's how I'm focusing. And that's what keeps me going, because it's like, all right, I wanna get to this step where I wanna get married, I wanna have kids, but the other me is like, Mom, you gotta hit this first, so how hard do you want that? And that's how I keep myself going.
That's beautiful.
Because some people, even friends that I know, like some of them really driven, even people that was in my circle, really driven, going hard, going hard with me. They get married, they have kids, they want to still do it, but it's almost like
Life.
throw them off.
Life.
And it's a beautiful thing, because I would never say, oh no, don't get married, don't have kids. I would never say that. It's a beautiful thing.
Right.
But I look at it, it's even more beautiful once it's like, damn, you got this, you got that, you did that, and now you're flourishing in that. That's just how I view it. So that's what keeps me going. This being the first pillar to get over. How bad do you want it? You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
drive,
it keeps me like, you know what I'm saying?
That's drive.
That's serious.
That's kind of like how I, and I feel like my family depending on it, everybody depending on it.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like my brother, I got 4 brothers.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? My brother right here, he's like my right hand when it comes to a lot. And Napoleon Hill talks about it. You need it's the mastermind principle.
Right.
You always got to have somebody that's at least close to you, that's going through that journey with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's how that's
like
kind of
that.
like how I reckon.
I like that.
That's been me and this guy for
Yeah,
over 20
I can tell,
years.
yeah.
It's been the same thing.
Yeah.
It's been the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that's how bad do you want it? I think that's a good close right there.
Absolutely.
I think so
How
too.
bad do you want it?
Yeah, how bad do you want it?